Right. Today we are here with Jennifer Kelly. She is one of the top 1% or 0.4% agents in all of the United States. Last year, according to all the numbers, pretty amazing.
I'm so excited about how low my numbers have dropped. So, my goal is less than the top 1%, So thanks for having me today.
You bet.
Thanks for joining us. I do have a question though before we expose everything. Given your production and how long you've been in the industry, just tell us why.
I've been licensed for 20 years and I just a few years ago got licensed in Florida. So I have a dual license in Colorado and Southwest Florida. I was previously with Keller Williams. I liked Keller Williams as an organization, but I had two logos, like one DocuSign, one CTM. So two document systems. And it was difficult transitioning. For those people who have two licenses, it's hard enough transitioning with one logo, but having to change everything back and forth as you switch. It really was to streamline the process. While I was in Florida, I heard about Epique. And so I talked to a few people and I thought this was really the plan that I wanted for my next steps in real estate.
We were excited that you came on board with us and everything that Epique promises to deliver. I have to say that Ryan and I got really worried because we heard recently that since joining Epique, your numbers have dropped. So do you mind just like chatting about that and tell us
it really has impacted me personally more than anything, just because I realized when you sell real estate at a higher level, I think sometimes you just focus on selling real estate. And so it took me kind of a minute to realize that I didn't have to pay for real estate signs. And so I had to just log on and I brought over 11 listings and the real estate signs were provided. So when we talk about numbers dropping, that was the first thing I noticed. And then we can talk more about what those numbers really look like. But the funny thing is health insurance. I've paid in a medical share, a med share health savings plan for about 5 years. The thing that struck me more than anything is I've thought for years and years, I hate paying medical insurance. I'm like, why can't we just get a group plan? There's so many people who are self-employed. I do not understand why we can't have a group plan. And Epique has a group plan. And my medical insurance went from almost $500 a month to $183. And it's the same type of savings plan. So those are the numbers that we're talking about dropping. So I'm super excited to actually dive into that a little more.
So tell us, what is the average cost per listing that you do? How much are you saving? That was one of the numbers that floored me, was the difference between, paying full price for Zillow Showcase to the photos, to the signs, to the, listings.
It's hard to say per listing. I mean, I did break it down with the number of sides and listings. We have either you do your own, prepare your own listings, or you pay for somebody to do the listing documents. And so if paying somebody to do each listing was costing about $595 a month for me to have listings to close, contract to close, it was $495. And then, so it's about $500-ish that you're going to pay when you have a listing to help with TC work. And compliance TC work is covered. So last year was a low year. I think I only had 43, 44 sides. So previous, 60 is my most that I've had in a year. We're 60 sides. So my business dropped about 20% last year. So I was at 42 sides. So the photos, it costs to take photos. My photos they cost about $950 actually, a listing. So last year, $2 in photos I saved. And then the TC work, just in and of itself, $12,495. So we can keep going in, but it's from every aspect of real estate that you can think of is where the savings has impacted me, honestly. And it's so exciting. It just makes me want to tell everyone.
That's awesome. Those are some crazy numbers. And when you hear it from somebody who's actually doing business, it just legitimizes it, because I get it. It's people kind of compare things on different levels, right? I want to get just a price per month, but wouldn't you agree? Because you're very, you basically have a following, right? If an agent sees what you're doing, they'll be like, okay, well, what's Jennifer doing and why did she make this switch? Would you agree that people tend to only look at like certain factors and then they like literally forget that they're spending money every day, that they're not, comparing with their cap, their split, the transaction fee?
I mean,
Yeah. Would
and
you
the
agree?
splits are also low, so it's an 85-15 split, so each agent, if the split is a concern, they're actually cutting costs there because they're getting more money in their pocket per each transaction. It might take a little longer, but most agents need the extra money in their pocket at each closing instead of having 70-30 split or 50-50 split or whatever the case may be. So if you just start there, you have a savings. But then, as you were talking about, we have lead generation, for example. $2,100 a month is what I was paying for BoomTown. Then if you add Zillow Showcase, that's $1,500. So that's $3,600. Then I have homes.com. So now I'm at $4,200 a month. So if we add up my monthly costs, and I'll just tell you, it's about $9,000 a month that I was spending in some just lead generation marketing, because my goal is to win listings and to also sell the listings. So pricing it right, but also using as much leverage as we can to have those listings be seen is what I'm doing too. That's why you do Zillow Showcase. That's why you do homes.com. That's why you paid for target marketing. That's why you pay for some of the lead generation. So, I mean, and the other thing is my photos and some of the marketing I do, I tell people that's my business card, And so somebody had said to me, "Oh my gosh, I saw that listing." So when you said you have a following, apparently you do, because other agents know that if a listing's put together, what it looks like, and that it looks good and it's complete, Yeah, it just keeps giving.
Oh, those listing billboards. Is that fun
Oh
to
my
talk
gosh,
about
it's
at a
hilarious.
listing presentation?
Have you done that? But I'm
So
curious to know
I've
in a
done it,
listing
and people are like,
presentation.
"What?" The only criticism I had was from an agent. Go, "Well, how long does your listing billboard run
And
for?"
does yours run?
Because they're being ridiculous. I used to people shoot at bright and shiny things, and so that's what they're doing. They're shooting at the bright and shiny thing, which is a listing billboard. And the other thing is it works fantastic in a listing presentation. People love it. But the other thing is you can leverage that listing billboard. So I'm not putting it on right at the beginning. I'm leveraging it so people see my face at the same location week after week. So you can do it however you want. It's your choice. But you can also leverage the listing to get the listing, but also leverage it for your marketing. And it's free. Yeah.
But speaking of following, this is another potential saver, because Epique has a monthly fee, right? We always say we're not the cheapest and we're not the most expensive. I think we're right in that sweet spot where producing agents would understand the value and see what they're getting for $149 a month, right? But then you add in, so you've already brought on a few agents since you've been here. And what does that mean? That means you're getting revenue share when those agents close. So essentially, you're getting your monthly paid for too as soon as those agents start producing, and if they are producing, right?
I was with Keller Williams, for over a decade, and I love Keller Williams, but they do a similar thing, but it's profit share. So the difference between this and Keller Williams is Keller Williams was profit. So if your market center isn't profitable, you're not making anything. So this is revenue share. It's not coming out of the agent's pocket who joined something that's easy to sell, because it's true. And speaking of that monthly fee, so I saved another $200 a month in my monthly fees because I was having to pay 2 market centers. And so that's $200 a month, another, $2,400, and it all adds up. I didn't even include that, in my total of the year savings. And let me know when you're ready to let me share the grand total of all the savings, but it's really remarkable.
Yeah.
So
you've already hit Power Award, right? So your monthly fee should be down to $99 now. And you haven't even been with us a full year, right? So you've got that as soon as you did the 10 million in production. So turn in for that, and then your monthly fee drops down to $99 a month.
And
that's another.
and you're never going to installation. That was $1,600 a year. It just keeps going. Honestly, I can't even believe it. Homes.com. But so I'm at about $98,496 a year.
Holy cow! So your numbers have dropped almost $100,000 in a year
Well,
of
and then this is
savings.
I did not count my marketing, because I like swag. I like giving people Jennifer Kelly team swags, backpacks. I like supporting local businesses. I donate to different organizations and silent auctions. And so I think providing a service to clients, but also donating to the public and doing some philanthropic work, I'm able to spend more money on some marketing stuff that people like and enjoy getting. You're doing something to help the community. So I'm saving on the stuff that nobody ever sees. The clients don't see how much you spend as a real estate agent, but now we're able to kind of even take that and use that for actual marketing.
And speaking of the working in the communities and giving back, we have our backpack drive that comes up in the fall. So that's one of the big things that we like to do. So we have our big backpack drives. We have our turkey Thanksgiving drives, all of those things that are so much fun to be a part of the community with, and where we have a chance as leaders to give back and to do that stuff. So it's so much fun to work with you guys and do that.
I do have a question for you, Jennifer, because we get this pushback a lot, and every agent should go wherever they feel comfortable or stay wherever they feel comfortable. But you are with a big brand and you're a top producer. And a lot of times people will say, and I think sometimes it is market specific. They'll say that they're afraid of going to a company where it's an unknown company, whereas a company like Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, they have that namesake, and there's belief that a client will sell their home with that agent for that reason. So how has the switch to Epique, being such a small company right now, has it affected your business at all, would you say? Or have you had any challenges with it?
Lost your voice.
Yeah,
We were going so well.
It's like I'm closing a deal.
Yes.
Here we go.
Let's wrap it up.
Yeah, you don't have to answer that question. Good.
Yeah. You got any more stuff that we want to talk about, or you want to make sure that we get in there?
Just wanted to know if switching to Epique as a non-note has changed anything for you. Awesome. That's all that really matters, right? But we want to make sure that you stay on schedule today. We know you have a furniture delivery, so we want to thank you so much for joining us. It was like really great insight.
Thank you, Jennifer, for your time, and we can't wait to get an update in a couple of months, see how much more money you dropped. Yeah, that's right. Awesome. Thank you. Bye.